So I contacted the chief of police, which is Mr. Velasquez, Johnny Velasquez, I believe. And he did call me back, so we spoke on the phone, and I advised him of the situation, and I asked him that I requested to file a formal complaint against a police officer, because I did contact the Dilley Police Department, and the same police officer answered, which is Mr. Sanchez, Sergeant Sanchez, Julian Sanchez, and he asked me who I was, and I stated my name. He says, "Oh, you're Lisa Benavidezs' sister," which prior that night he had an incident with my sister. I said, "Excuse me, sir," and then he told me, he says, "Yes." I said, "Yes." And of course I know this supervisor because he's a far cousin, I don't know, like a second or third cousin of the family. So I told Mr. Sanchez, I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "And that's irrelevant to the situation. All I need is for you to advise me how to file a formal complaint against yourself." He said, "Well, you have to tell me what you're filing against, what the situation is." And I said, "Sir, look, I know my rights." I said, and I understand that I don't have to give you this information. I said, "So what I would like from you is to give me a number or give me the procedures on how to file a formal complaint." He says, "You need to tell me." I said, "No, sir, I do not." I said, "I know that I can go to somebody else." I said, "I don't feel comfortable talking to you, so I'm going to hang up the phone." So I hung up the phone at that point. So then, of course, then I had a conversation with the chief of police, and he told me that he could do that. He was allowed to do that. Sergeant Sanchez was allowed to ask me questions and ask the nature of the complaint and who it was against, even though it was against him. And then he said that what they do is I can file a complaint with him, with the chief of police, which is Mr. Velasquez, and that they would give me like a number, like I don't know, like a file complaint number, and that he would look at it, and then that he would try to mediate it. He says, "I do what's called mediation, then I try to formally resolve it, and, and then we take it from there." I said, "Okay, well, what about if it's not formally resolved?" I said, "Is there a number or something that I can contact outside, an outside entity that I can contact?" He says, "Pretty much that's the procedure, and that's what we do." I said, "Okay, sir." I said, "You know what, that's all I needed to know. That's what I wanted to know." He goes, "You can come in and pick up the application here." I said, "Is there anywhere else I can pick it up? Can I go to somebody else?" And he said, "No." He said, "You have to come here, pick it up, file it here with us, and then we'll take care of it." I said, "Okay," and hung up the phone, and that was that.
Okay, I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the officer Sanchez, you said was directly involved in the incident. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and...
The sergeant... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So Sergeant Sanchez was involved, and the chief of police actually told you that it was appropriate for him to still take the complaint.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. First, let me just tell you that I'm a police misconduct expert. I've testified in several hundred cases, and I'm also a retired detective, so I can give you some sound advice on whether or not what he told you was appropriate, because I do work as an expert witness, and I'm asked to give my opinion. And I'm going to give you a professional expert opinion on what happened to you. First of all, what the chief of police told you is utterly incorrect. Even if he's practicing it that way, it's not consistent with international standards according to the International Association of Chiefs of Police, nor most bodies that provide oversight to law enforcement agencies, meaning the agencies that provide accreditation to the police would not look at that as an appropriate approach to handling complaints. We have had many instances where we've tested complaints like this, and in almost 99% of the cases, when we put this sort of a story on the air, the police chief or the police department is forced to back down and recant it, because it's not an appropriate policy to have an officer who's directly involved in a complaint receiving a complaint against himself. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to call the Dilley Police Department, see if I can get some answers, and then I'm going to make some recommendations on what you need to do to follow through with your complaint and protect yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so just stand by, and if you wouldn't mind, don't say anything unless I ask you to speak. I'll be calling the police department on another line, and I will advise them that I have a friend on the phone with me, and if I need you to answer any questions, I'll ask you, okay?
Okay. And do you have the number, sir?
Yes, I have it. 830-965-2113, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, just a moment.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me better now? Okay, and I'm on the line with a friend of mine who just had a little experience, and I want to try to get some information. If we wanted to file a complaint against an officer, would it be appropriate for the officer to take the complaint against himself?
Well, I mean, the incident just happened.
Yeah, it's recent. It's just like over the weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, I mean, he would deal with the officer. He can just come in here, deal with our secretary. She can supply, give him the complaint form, and he can just bring it as his own.
Okay. Well, here's the problem. When my friend called in to see what the procedure was, they were told that they had to talk to that officer, the same one who was involved in the complaint. It just didn't sound right. So we're just trying to figure out what we're supposed to do.
Okay. No, I mean, you just pick up the complaint form and file whatever complaint and whatever officer it is, and then we just turn it over to the chief or whatever suit is us.
Well,
an officer?
Yeah, it's an officer, and I guess what I'm saying is, I understand what you're telling me, which is you're telling me how to do it. I'm asking you, was it right for him to tell me that I had to talk to him?
Talk to
the officer.
Yeah,
would it be appropriate for the officer who I'm complaining about to make me file a complaint against him with him?
No, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, he'd probably just, maybe if he wanted, talk to the officer, maybe they can settle whatever the problem was, basically, before, gets to the next level. But if you feel that it's not, you don't feel comfortable talking to the officer, I mean, that's why we got supervisors and whatever needs to be done,
So if okay, I understand that. I'm just asking you, so if I had a complaint against you, you're telling me it would be okay for you to decide and listen to the complaint?
To talk to me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm saying that you're basically telling me that it was okay what the officer did, right?
Yeah, basically, I mean, it's, basically, can you settle the problem? Whatever the officer did wrong, or if you feel that, I mean, just talk to the officer. Maybe, it was just a misunderstanding. I'm saying, I don't know what this incident was about, but if you don't feel comfortable, of course, you can go to the next level and talk to the supervisor. If you don't feel comfortable talking to the officer.
Okay, well, he wouldn't allow that.
It's not mandatory. It's not, that you talk to the officer that you have a complaint on.
Okay, yeah, I know it's not mandatory, but to me it's inappropriate. And let me just kind of fill you in, and I need to get some information. I'm actually a retired detective sergeant, and I know the rules, and I am also an expert witness, and I testify routinely involving police litigation. So I'm telling you that I know that what you're telling me is not correct. Now, this is what I'd like to do at this point. I don't have any confidence in the complaint system within this police department. I'd like the number to the mayor's office, the city manager, or the city attorney.
The city manager.
You have his number?
That'll be 1624.
16. Can you give me the whole number?
Redirect you back to the chief of police. So
okay, hold on. Can you?
They'll transfer you to the city manager or whatever.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your time. All right. Okay, ma'am?
Yes.
Did you hear all that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I don't have any confidence in these guys. They are completely wrong, and they're not following proper protocol, and what he's talking about is a flat-out lie. So let me give you a couple of things that I think you need to do to protect yourself. Number one, okay. We will help you submit this complaint to the appropriate authority.
Okay.
If you need help beyond that, you can call our office tomorrow, and my staff will assist you. They'll tell you what services we offer. Right now, what we've done so far doesn't cost you anything, and to be frank with you, I'm willing to do a bit more, just because I don't like the way this smells. So I will contact the city manager's office, and if you're available tomorrow, let's talk.